Okay, go ahead.
It has a 30-day shelf life. What we've designed here is a multimedia solution that's more of a resource guide and a coffee table book than a 30-day shelf life. How are we doing that? In each of these publications, and there are 3 by the way, there's one that has to do with health and wealth, there's one that has to do with food, and there's one that has to do with the equestrian lifestyle.
Okay.
So each of these publications will have a resource guide inside of them.
Okay.
All of the restaurants in the area, the grocers, the caterers, wealth managers, doctors, and fitness centers, and then the equestrian capital, which is really cool, will have a complete social guide for the season, as well as the complete schedule of all the equestrian events in the community.
So it'll include like Georgina Bloomberg's baby shower?
Well, that's an event we would definitely like to be at, but we're probably not going to get the invitation.
That's right.
But if you get invited, we'd love to go with you.
Okay.
And you bring the gift.
Okay.
So the concept is these have a longer shelf life, and they're used as a guide. It's not just a publication. The editorial will be relevant. It will be presented in a very elegant package. It will be timely. We're not going to talk about things that happened a year ago. We're talking about current events.
Okay.
But rather than it to just sit on your desk
Coffee
for
table, right.
your desk for 30 days, this is going to be something you're going to use all season as a guide. So that's the biggest difference.
So when one of these goes out,
Yep.
which one's going to go first?
So the first one is Living Wellington.
Okay.
Okay.
Once it goes out there,
Yep.
one of the things that I heard, and I'm not sure how this works, is
Yep.
if I put an ad in there, how do they get to my website? I do a lot of marketing now by social media between Facebook and my website. Does this do anything with that?
Yes.
How does it do that?
So what we're doing is this. We set up the Flavors Facebook page.
Okay.
To test a model. Again, Flavors was the test of all this. And to see how it worked and whether people would interact and all that fun stuff. They did. They responded. So we're setting up social assets for each of these magazines. It's a standalone social asset. Living Wellington will have its own Facebook page. Equestrian Capital its own Facebook page. And we're going to promote those on Facebook and Google and all of those things independently of the publication.
When one of those publications come out, how
Sure.
long will that Facebook page be up? How long is my click to my website going to be good for?
Okay, so the way we're doing it is this. Living Wellington hits in September. Flavors will hit in October.
Okay.
And the Equestrian Capital will hit at the beginning of the season in November.
Okay.
So what we're doing is all of the social media pages will launch in August.
For all 3 of them will launch?
all 3 of them.
Even before the magazines are out?
Even before they're out. So we can start building an audience. Start engaging people with the concept of what's coming. As soon as each magazine launches, first of all, we're going to promote in the magazine that there is a social media outlet. Okay? But on top of that, we're going to be promoting it on Facebook. If you want the ultimate guide to living well in Wellington, click here. That's an investment we're making on our end so that we're building an audience for you guys. For everyone who buys a half or a full page in any one of these magazines, what we're going to do is, for the life of the magazine, which is a 6-month period, each magazine is good for 6 months.
Okay.
We're going to put a monthly e-card on our social media outlet.
What do you mean a monthly
e-card
on your? Okay.
Cool. So a monthly e-card, that's something that we kind of do at our parent company, Experimar, for some of our clients.
Okay.
Basically, we can't purchase an ad for you on your behalf in Facebook because it's just impossible for us to do. But what we can do is we can design an image that's based on your advertisement that leads back to your website, whether it's through a QR code or a link in the message or however we work with you and your team to design that. So one time every month, we can decide on a schedule in advance. During the life of your ad, every single month,
which is a 6-month life?
6-month lifespan.
Okay.
Just to address that, so Living in Flavors come out twice a year, quarterly. They alternate.
Okay.
Equestrian Capital comes out once a year, just at the beginning of the equestrian season.
Okay.
So these will quarterly, and so every time you buy an ad in Living, it's good for 6 months. An ad in Flavors is good for 6 months, and this is good for the whole year.
Okay.
So we're going to put out an e-card saying, check out our wonderful client, Victor.
I don't know what an e-card is. What's an e-card?
An e-card is literally, when you're on your Facebook page and you see the image, the square, the size of the square, that's perfectly seen as an image. Well, that's a specific size. Okay. A lot of times when you put a picture up on Facebook, you'll see that it cuts off the top or the bottom.
Until you click on it, then you see the whole thing.
You click on it, then it expands. Well, we design an ad that's the exact shape of that square. so that when you see it without having to click on it, you'll be able to read your ad.
Oh, okay.
And then if you click on it, it'll have a link that takes people back to your website.
Okay.
So it's a way for us to supplement being able to purchase ads on behalf of our clients on Facebook. And it also comes from us instead of coming from you. So it almost seems like it has an editorial edge. Like we're recommending that people come out and talk to you.
And it seems like, am I getting 6 months of free internet exposure?
You are. You are 100%.
Okay.
One of the things that we're also doing is each of these publications will have its own website. And so we're going to work with Google, and we're going to have Google advertising that we purchase to make these high-ranking sites. One of the most exciting sites that we purchased equestriancapital.com and officialequestrian.com. And so those sites, of course, are going to rank very high. When someone looks up equestrian, those sites are going to rank extremely high. And so this book here is going to have really great search engine optimization because of the fact that we were just lucky enough to find a great domain name. On those
quick enough before someone else got it.
Or quick enough. On those domain, we also will have, now it's a separate package, you'll see it's broken down in the back, we'll also have banner ads. Just like any traditional website, we'll have a header, a square, a column ad, and a footer that are also available for purchase. They rotate, but they'll be available for purchase on the website. So the difference, you asked me a little bit ago, the difference between this and Wellington Magazine, for example.
Yeah, because the guy from Wellington was here just the other day.
There's a couple differences. And they will be here. The day they see his ad in the magazine, they'll be here the next day.
You got it. That's where you get your leads.
That's right. The reality is there's a few differences. One is the shelf life. Two is the interactivity online. I don't know if you've been to their website, but their website is just a digital flip-through of the publication. They
don't have live links on there? So you're, technology-wise, you're way ahead of them, right?
Extremely ahead. And there's no social media asset component either. So for a fraction of the price, for almost half the price of what it would cost you to buy a full-page ad, with a 6-month shelf life, with social media, with the option to buy online, with a beautiful package.
What do you mean the option to buy online? What buy online? Meaning
you can buy the advertising online, the web header, the footer.
Okay.
That's not even an option that they even offer. It's not even a possibility with them. You'll see that the pricing is all based on value. Here's what we've done. Because we've teamed up with the Chamber, this isn't necessarily about going into the Chamber's members' pockets 19 times and getting as much out of them as we can.
It's very. It's different from Central Palm Beach County Chamber.
Totally, and we get that. By the way, I've heard that. I've actually heard that. The difference here
that wasn't a random comment.
No. We have gotten that. Massage Envy berated me about Central Palm Beach. You'll see that it's very value based. What would typically cost you $2,000 or $3,000 to do at another publication, whether it's the Post or Wellington or any of those things, we think we have very fair pricing. At the end of the day, what we want to do is provide a good service to the Chamber, a good service to you as a member, get your message out, and actually connect you with two audiences. One, the traditional Wellington audience that goes to the equestrian venues, the traditional Wellington audience that Wellington the magazine does talk to, and then the other 30,000 people who don't pick up a publication, who are online, who are looking for those websites, who are Googling what to do in Wellington, and will find our site before they find the other ones, because we'll be there. I'm
confused just a little. How will those other 30,000 find this magazine? If they don't search, if they were not to put in flavors, because they don't, if they're just a regular old, I never go to the horse show person in Wellington, which is a large, how are they going to find these magazines?
Okay. What we're doing on our back end right now is we are working on the SEO for all of these websites. We're search engine optimizing every single one of them. So when you Google search Wellington, we want to be some of the top ranking sites in Wellington. We're doing that on our back end. And side note, we really are doing this. We're doing for flavors. What we're search engine optimizing is Wellington restaurants. Those two words are on every single page of that website. So as more and more people use that site, Wellington restaurant, if you
moves up the optimization,
moves up and up and up and up and up. So we're working on it. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. It's not instant. Google takes about 3 or 4 weeks to work, which is why we're launching the websites in August, so that by the time the magazines start hitting the community, those sites are starting to rank higher, just naturally by people putting them in.
Okay.
Now, we have some distribution points, which also make it super accessible. We're distributed at Barnes & Noble. We're distributed at Whole Foods. We're working with Publix right now. We're hopeful that Publix will start to distribute the publication just in Wellington. We do deliver to 300 locations in the community. We have a distribution company that does that for us, and they deliver magazines all over town. We know they deliver them, they audit them, they give us back a sheet, and we check back and replenish at those locations, and most of the times we find that we need to replenish because the magazines have been taken. So far as value is concerned, pricing, and testing the market for ROI, I think we've made a pretty solid case on how we can offer you a solution that's relatively affordable, reaches the audiences you're trying to reach, is engaging, is social, is in print, and has the potential to really reach your audience. Thoughts?
Okay, first of all, do you have a copy of the Flavors magazine you actually did, so I can see what actually one looks like?
No. We should.
Okay, I have one. I don't need it, but that would be. I'd like to see what this actually looks like.
Fantastic. Here it is.
Okay. Second, do I have to buy all three?
No, but here's an opportunity.
Okay.
We have been doing a buy two get one opportunity.
Just like BOGO, buy one get one?
It's a BOGO. We're doing a BOGO.
Okay.
And as part of that BOGO, basically what we're saying is if you buy 2 ads in 2 of the magazines, we'll give you the third of the same or lesser value. In the third one, you get to pick whichever ones you want to participate in.
Okay.
A lot of our people are saying, I want to be in Living and Equestrian, and they get the Flavors ad complimentary.
Because I can see if I'm not in the food business at all, why do I want to be in flavor? I mean,
that's a great question.
Yeah.
That's a great question. I'm glad you asked. That's a perfect question. The most interesting thing about that is, because I get that a lot, foodies are actually some of the best demographics. Foodies have been identified right now.
Are you telling me I'm one of the best demographics out there?
You are. I can tell by your Dove dark chocolate.
Exactly. And by the way, it did have all of the Dove dark red ones up until about an hour ago, and Thea get the last 3.
We gotcha. Foodies are a really great demographic. That's why Food Network magazine, people are running away from print, saying, oh, print is dead, print is dead. Food Network magazine is actually the second best-selling magazine in the country.
Is it really?
It is. It is. Absolutely is. And foodies are affluent, they love to acquire stuff, and they enjoy life a little more than the other demographics.
So go out, eat, drink, and be merry.
They do, and they have a little more expendable income. And so while you would think that it's a restaurant magazine and that all the restaurants, which by the way are the worst advertisers, all the restaurants want to be in it, we can't get any of them in it, it's actually a great demographic for other advertisers. We've designed this, we've built this around the market, looking at who is in Wellington and what the businesses are in the chamber, and we've created these as 3 very targeted, segmented pieces to capture audiences that actually have the income to develop business. Okay. The difference between us and everybody else is most people are in the publishing business to make money publishing a magazine. We've been hired by the chamber to put together a community guide. So I'm not coming to you and saying, hey, listen, Victor, I would love for you to be in this because we want a $4,000 ad from you. Part of our mission is to fulfill part of the chamber's mission, which is to build something that's actually going to work. So it's a little different than the typical guy coming off the street and trying to sell you something.
And so if I had to choose, I can only have so much in my budget, and I've either got to do Wellington the magazine or your magazines. Give me a summary of why I should choose you over Wellington the magazine.
Most important is the first point. You could probably do all 3 of my magazines for the same amount that you would do a 2-month schedule in Wellington the magazine. First and foremost. Secondarily, unless you're going to be in Wellington the magazine over an extended period of time, 3 or 4 times, it's not worth your money.
Well, 1 or 2 shots usually, yeah.
It's not worth your money. And so the reality is, we're giving you a 6-month shelf life, social, an online component which you can opt into.
I think number 3, I think that online, I think that's going to be a big seller.
Huge. And they're not offering it. They're literally not even touching it. I do know that they're redeveloping their website right now. I've heard that. But those are 3 solid reasons why to distinguish us from them. We don't even see ourselves as a competitor, to be honest. We think this is it's a different style product. And if you have a schedule that you're running with them, I wouldn't suggest canceling it. What I would suggest is giving this a try as an alternative. And if it works, we're going back to the chamber after this run and saying, hey, listen, this worked, this didn't work, here's how we can perfect the model so we can move on with more publications next year.
Okay. What's a half a page or a page cost?
Okay, so a page, they're fairly affordable in the sense compared to everybody else. A page in any one of these is going to cost you about $900, and a half a page is going to cost about $500.
So when you say 900 gives me one magazine. In order to get all three, I'd have to spend $1,800 to get a page, because I got to buy two, I get one free.
Correct, and that includes the social media as well.
Okay.
Now, the other thing that we can do to make this even easier is because the publications don't start coming out until September, we can make it affordable for you to spread it out a little bit over time.
You know, I was just going to say, my budget's always tight, and so do I have to pay for this at once? Could I say, you know what, I'll do the $1,800, but I got to break it into 4 payments, or once, whatever, or however it works out?
We can split it up between now and November, between the last one that comes out. So because we're talking to you early, it's July. We can split it up over that series of months, and you'll start feeling the effect in August when the social media sites go live. But you'll start seeing your advertisements in September, and then consistently you'll have an advertisement come out every single month after that. We'd be happy to do that for you.
Is there a way that I can connect? I have both a website and a Facebook page.
Yep.
Is there a way I can connect that into this?
There's a couple different things you can do as far as engaging people through your advertising. I don't know if you've used QR codes in the past. But QR codes...
What are QR codes?
QR codes, it's a great question. QR codes are basically it's a quick way for someone to scan with their smartphone. It's a barcode style
My
thing.
phone's 2 years old, it's a dumb phone. Okay.
And have instant access to information. It all depends on what you want to put on it. You could put your business card information on it. You could take them to a web page. You could take them to a microsite for a specific campaign. I'll give you an example, and this is something we do at our firm. We have companies that come to us all the time. Cats and Eye Center is a client.
Okay, I see.
And they came to us and said, hey, listen, we're having a hard time connecting with younger demographics. And we went back and tried to figure out why that is. Well, here's why it is. You go to their website. Their website looks like it was designed in 1992 by, some guy in a garage. And so what we did was we created a QR code campaign with a microsite, super affordable. They came in, they started putting it on their advertising, and people started going to that site instead. It was literally a landing page or two, but it was directing a more specific message to that audience.
Okay.
And by creating that, yes, it cost them a little more up front to create that 1 or 2 pages of website that they wanted, but their return was much higher. Their click-through rate was twice as high. The actual engagement...
What do you mean click-through rate? What's click-through rate?
The number of people who go to your website based on an advertisement or a call to action.
Okay, that's called a click-through rate?
Yeah.
Okay.
The other thing that's interesting is if you put a QR code on something, that if we do it for you, if we develop it for you, we can actually attach a tracker to that QR code, which we'll put in your ad in the magazine, and we can actually tell you how many people scanned the QR code and went to your ad in the magazine through that. So we can boil it down, the return, we can boil it down literally to a science where we can tell you 1 person went, or 100 people went, or 1,000 people went. So we can do it that way. Your social media will be automatically connected. Every time we put out an e-card on your behalf, we will include a link to your social media page, so it's automatically connected there. And if you were to decide to do web advertising, you could decide whether to direct that to your website or to a social media page. So it would be up to you how you handle that.
So is this part of what I'm going to ask now, this service?
Yeah.
Would this service be part of the chamber or be part of you if I said I wanted to do some demographic-specific web advertising?
We would do that. That would be a service that
Can you do that?
Yes, we can. We can do that. And we can send you a customized proposal for that on our behalf, yeah.
Because I think, by the way, that Cats and Eye Center was a very important thing to include.
Yeah.
Because myself, I have a Facebook page, I have a website page, and quite candidly, with all the other stuff, I know I don't work it as much as I should. Okay, so if there were a way I could say, okay, I know what an SEO is, and I know all of that. It's like I also know what makes an internal combustion engine work, but I'm not going to build one. Okay, but I know that I need to have the engine.
Here's what happened at Cats, and I'll tell you the story in 2 seconds. So we went to see them. We went to pitch them this. Okay. And they said to us, well, we do print. It doesn't work. Okay, well, that's fine. You think that. here's the reality: is you don't know if your print's working, and this is the truth. I would tell this to anybody.
There's no way to track it.
How do you know? You don't know. You think it's not working because no one walks through the door and says, "Hey,
I saw this ad
person with my ad under my thing." Very rarely is that going to happen. They're going to see you here. They're going to hear it on the radio. They're going to see it on TV, and it's the combination of those things coming together that's going to make somebody call you. Okay, so no one thing works independently. It has to be a full circle piece. What we did was, she was telling us, well, this doesn't work and that doesn't work, and I started to look at her materials, and I said, well, I can tell you why it doesn't work. I said, who's your audience? That's the first question. We didn't even ask you that, but we should have asked him that, but we didn't ask him.
No, that's a good thing. Who was your audience?
Who's your audience? And she said, well, 30 to 45 glasses, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, so I'm your audience.
Okay.
And that ended up having to work out that way, that I was this lady's audience. And I said, well, guess what? I've heard Virginia talk about it on Kevin in Virginia 90 times. I've never been to the Katzen website. And good thing either, by the way, because I pulled it out right in front of her. I said, because if I were to have seen this, I probably wouldn't have called you. Okay? But the reality is this. You're not talking to me. You're talking medical lingo to you and your patients.
Non-medical people.
You're not talking to me. You're not reaching me. I said, so I'm going to, and we literally rolled this out. We sketched it out for her right there. I said, so let me think for a minute on what would talk to me. I said, who are your clients? And she started spouting off, well, brides, scuba divers, blah, blah, blah. I said, here's the idea. I said, what if we did a series of ads, print ads, where you literally have the bride in her wedding, in the church, veil under, and then the big, thick-ass glasses under it. Nobody wants to look that way, okay? And it looks, it has to feel awkward. Like, people have to look at it and be like, something's not right in this picture, and maybe they won't even put their finger on it, but it raises a question.
And gets them and engages them to think.
With a QR code. And then, this is a bit of an expensive campaign, but I'll just take you through it. So what we're developing for her is basically a process where they put a print ad out with a QR code. They scan the QR code, and that QR code brings the ad to life in a video.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Okay.
So it takes a bride with the dumb glasses, and somehow she turns around and comes back, and she has sexy looks, and all of a sudden she's beautiful, and they get married and they live happily ever after.
Right.
Okay.
So and this is something that we're kind of developing in house. We're doing this for 4 or 5 clients now. It's not as expensive as you'd think. I'll tell you what it is. We're doing it. PB Catch and Pistache in downtown. They're clients. We're rebranding the restaurants and doing all kinds of stuff for them. Same concept. With PB Catch, which is their new restaurant, people just don't know the concept. So we're literally doing the same thing where it's an ad where you scan it and the video comes to life.
That's a good idea.
And they're paying right now. I think it was $750 for the video, which is for video is not expensive. It's a 60-second video, and they're paying us to design the stuff, but at the same time,
does that $750 includes the shoot? That includes production?
Yeah,
and the whole video you can.
Yeah,
oh, and that's not.
And the B-roll. So if later on they say, hey Manny, we need to do an ad and we don't have any footage, well, we've now created 30 minutes worth of footage for them. So as an advertising agency, it helps us because now we've created an asset that we can recycle because they have nothing right now. And for them as a client, typically rule of thumb is it costs about $2,000 per minute of finished video.
Okay.
That's kind of industry standard.
Okay.
We have access to a lot of younger talent that isn't as well established as like Comar Productions or something. And so we're getting these guys out of college hungry that produce really beautiful cutting edge stuff. They're editing it in their garage. It's like quick. And these guys are thrilled to make $700, So at the end of the day...
Is that quality of that enough that if I wanted to do something on television, cable TV, I could use that video?
1080p.
Okay. 1080p
HD. Completely. It's really cool. See, the thing is, we're tapping into a generation of people who are used to doing this stuff on an iPad in a park. You do it too. iPad, there's a park, sort of, a leaf. But the reality is, the technology has made this accessible for anybody to do it. And so, there's different ways to engage print. There's different ways to do these things and to make print dynamic and to make it come to life. The bottom line, what we tell our clients is, try to tell a story. Whatever you do, I don't care whether you do it with us or with anybody, you have to tell a story because people are berated by advertisements all day long. And if you don't do something that's going to be memorable, you're just going to be another ad.
Yep. And if you speak your own, in my own pet peeves, if you speak your own industry jargon, you've lost them.
Yeah.
If they knew all your industry jargon, they wouldn't need you because they're in the industry.
Right.
Okay.
That's right.
Half of what I do in talking to clients is not talk financial talk, but talk about, no, we do this, and you end up, this is how you can retire. What do you like to do? You like to sail? You like to fish? Whatever. And you don't talk to them in strict financial terms, because if they, like I said, if they knew all that financial terms, they wouldn't need me because they would be in the business.
That's right.
So if I'm in the eye center, if I do all medical technology, I don't know what the heck a reverse cornea plant, blah, blah. If I knew that, I'd be an eye doctor.
And nor should you care. All you care about is not having glasses at your wedding.
Correct.
That's it. Like with you. I don't care what it takes, Victor. I just want to be able to live off X number of dollars when I retire. I don't care what you have to do. Figure it out. You figure it out.
That's your job.
Yeah. And so, but you, Victor, you get it, surprisingly. There are people, Victor, they don't get it. I mean, there are people out there right now spending marketing money who don't, a lot of marketing money. Katzen spends thousands of dollars a month on marketing stuff. Why is it not working? Well, let's throw more money at it, and maybe
you got to figure out how to touch the market. And I think one of the very important things in this it was sort of a setup on the question, what makes this different than Wellington Magazine, is I think the links on there, the technology to be able to do that, I think that it does a couple of things. It gives them something that brings it right to their site where I don't have to carry this magazine with me.
Right.
To be able to find your ad.
Right.
And whether I'm doing it on my coffee table, my iPad, or my phone, I can still get to you in some manner. Oh, right. I can't remember. Let me put in the link, and I've got it.
Yep.
Okay. And we're becoming more and more technology, because without going through I'll just say something as odd, but you'll appreciate this anyway. 90% of all men in the world, when we go to the bathroom, what do? We take the newspaper with us. Okay, I used to have a magazine rack.
Yep.
I don't take a magazine rack anymore. I take my iPad. I do Fox News. I'll do the Wall Street.
Remember.
Yeah, exactly.
Guilty as charged. I do the same
Research
thing.
library.
Yeah, I do the Wall Street Journal. And if nothing else is there, I do solitaire. But that's it, because I've got all my library with me.
Yep.
And it's I had to go to a car dealer this morning to do some work, and while I sat there, I sat and read the paper.
Yep. More and more, the other thing that's happening too is you're starting to market to one. It's one-to-one marketing, and there's a lot of technologies out there right now that people are playing with. We're just going to make publishing awesome. There are people right now who are developing animated paper, throwaway paper that's animated.
I don't understand.
I would venture to say that 5 to 7 years from now, this picture on this thing will be moving.
With that same thickness and that same type of paper.
And the same disposability of it. It's happening. It's coming. So what the big trend that's coming down the road is animation on this stuff. People think print is dead. Here's the truth about it is newspapers are dead. Newspapers are dead. And why are newspapers dead? Newspapers are dead because of the quality of the product. I don't want to hold a yucky, nasty, ink on my fingers newspaper. Magazines aren't dead. If anything, magazine readership is actually up in the last 5 years, and since Facebook.
What are they reading it on? Are they
A lot
holding
of
the
people
magazine?
are reading paper. A lot of people are still reading paper. Here's the thing: it's split. For example, I like paper. Like I like holding the magazine. I like flipping through it. There are things you can do on paper, like this image looks gorgeous on this thing. This looks beautiful here. I can't. It doesn't translate.
Oh, when you put it online. Okay.
I mean, it's pretty. You still see it, and it still looks good. But there's just something about holding images still that works. Now, you do have to have your stuff together and have a digital component. No doubt about it.
Because you have to leverage that.
100%.
That by itself is
dead.
I was going to say archaic. I don't know what the right word would be, but okay.
By itself, publications can't stand. You have to be, and again, and this is now sidebar. This is why they feel completely threatened by us. The reality is, one dude in an office with a computer has created an entire system that sideswipes everything they do. And the truth of the matter is, we one-upped them, with this. Now, I honestly don't believe we're competition to Wellington Magazine. We're not. We're not a monthly. I'm not out there doing this every week. I'm not out there. this is not my core business. My core business is marketing, communications, branding.
Okay.
You know, now we are in their pool. We are putting out a magazine. We're doing it once a quarter. All, yes, valid points, but they're pissed off about it.
Here's the problem I have as an advertiser in a Wellington magazine is, and you've already said it, but it's this. In order to be effective, it's got to be multiple impressions. I can't put an impression here, an impression there. It's got to be a series of, it's a cumulative effect. It's not a single shot.
Right.
So for me to be effective, and I don't advertise in Wellington magazine because for the cost, I get 1 month and then it's got to be consistent to be there.
It doesn't work.
Correct.
And the reality is I'm sure that they do this. By the way, part of the reason they're not thrilled necessarily is because we just took their director of sales and hired her. So she's
You were the director of sales?
She's working on another project for us.
Okay.
Which you may or may not be interested. We'll tell you about it later. But the reality is that it's antiquated. The model's antiquated, and we've put forth a value-based solution that is fairly priced that resolves it.
Who or what's buzzing? Oh,
That's
okay.
me.
Okay.
So, long story short, the whole purpose of this thing is we're going to put together a custom proposal for you. We don't expect you to say yes or no or any of that stuff. We're going to put something together for you, but I wanted Genesis to hear. She hasn't really heard me pitch like that.
Okay.
I wanted her to hear that with you. I wanted you to ask me some tough questions.
Now, we'll do one other thing. Now that you've made that whole pitch, and my iPad has been sitting there, if you want to know, yes, it's been recording the whole presentation.
I knew it.
I love it.
I knew it.
So